everybody, welcome back to Media Moogle. It's Ole Gamer Joe as always here with another Media Moogle review. Today we are taking a look at Neversong, which was previously known as Once Upon a Coma, but they've decided to change the title of this game. It was developed by Atmos Games and Serenity Forge, and published as well by Serenity Forge, released on Steam as of May 20th, 2020, and previously released on the Apple Arcade. It is an indie action puzzle platformer that is very dark in tone and will not be for those that are looking for a light-hearted platforming experience similar to a Mario-type game or a Sonic the Hedgehog. That will not be found in Neversong. This is a bleak world which splits its gameplay elements fairly evenly between some fun puzzles, mediocre combat, and below-average platforming. Neversong puts you in control of the character Peet, who finds himself waking up from a long coma only to find that his girlfriend has gone missing, so he sets out to find her in this very dark, disturbing world. You'll start the game out in your home village, which is full of supposed friends, but these friends don't really seem all that friendly. In fact, their dialogue seems to hint at the fact that they actually don't like you in a lot of ways. I can't tell if that's just a stylistic choice with this game, or if they were trying to be funny or something. As you go deeper and deeper into this game's 6 illustrated worlds, you will find yourself a little bit befuddled and confused, but ultimately the goal of the game is to collect different songs to progress forward. You'll play these collected songs on a piano in your room, typically unlocking a new ability which will help you to progress further into your journey. These abilities include the option of riding on a skateboard and also the ability to swing on different chains. And of course, on your way to collecting all of these different melodies, you have to batter away at enemy spiders and other weirdos that will come into your path with your baseball bat. The combat in Neversong is really bare bones. There's not a whole lot to it. You just walk up to enemies, you bash away at them, and then you collect star items off of them, 100 of which will add a heart to your health. A little more strategy will be needed in order to take down some of the game's bosses, which have certain patterns that you'll have to follow, but for the most part they're pretty easy to deal with and very easy to figure out, though they are thrilling to look at and exciting encounters overall. So while your main combat in this game is pretty boring after a while and monotonous, at least the bosses in this game do make up for that a little bit by offering up some fun challenge. Unfortunately, for as unexciting as the combat can be in this game, the platforming is downright frustrating, especially when you get introduced to having to swing from chain to chain in this title. It's really annoying and it never quite felt right to me. I found myself missing platforms over and over again, knowing exactly where I had to go, but unfortunately being unable to execute the jumps perfectly, which is more or less the requirement in order to progress at certain moments in this game. Despite the pretty wonky platforming, I will say that other abilities in the game weren't so bad to use, including that skateboard, which is actually quite fun and incorporated into some puzzles in some amusing ways. Yes, the puzzles are by far the strongest point of this title, and they're really fun to solve with some interesting concepts introduced as well. For example, early on into this title, you'll have to roll a certain character through smells while using different platforming elements to do so. Meanwhile, this character is getting more and more fed up with you as you continually roll him through sludge and spider eggs. It's the few moments like these in Neversong, a rather short game clocking in maybe around 5 to 6 hours for the average player, that you are more likely to look back on fondly versus the lousy platforming and the okay combat. That said, there are some hidden cards which can be collected throughout the game, and those include little cosmetic designs for your character that he can wear, including longer hair or perhaps no shirt whatsoever. They don't really add anything to the game in terms of gameplay, but they are decently fun to collect, and you'll want to get them all if you're a completionist. It's unfortunate then that Neversong more often than not misses the basic fundamentals of gameplay, because the art aesthetic is really quite enjoyable in this game. I enjoyed the dark tone, and the illustrated drawings are fantastic to look at with some great settings. Boss characters are big and vibrant with fun patterns to watch unfold, with some pretty solid animations on the whole throughout this experience. It's a shame then that I felt like the writing in this title really missed the mark. I don't know if they were going for a comedic approach or a serious one. It's really hard to tell. This is not my favorite writing style in a game. Some of the characters in Neversong really spew off some hateful remarks, which I'm not particularly sensitive to, but I did pause for a moment at times in this game and be like, what the heck did he just say? Again, I was kind of able to tell what they're going for here with a little bit of a dark humor similar to like a Night in the Woods style game, but on the whole, I really didn't feel like the message came through in the writing at all, and I was ultimately perplexed and not entertained or amused at all by it. The script may be well intended in some of its concepts and ideas, but on the whole, I ended up feeling pretty empty by the end of the game, despite a somewhat satisfying conclusion. Maybe some people will really like this writing style and think I'm crazy, but for me, it just didn't speak to me in any real way. I will say that there are some beautiful and moody piano-centric pieces in this game that really do set the overall tone that they're going for quite well. And while I may not have personally been a fan of the writing, I will say that the voice acting is for the most part commendable in this title and does match the universe that they've created. But just what was the message of Neversong? That's what I was left asking myself when the credits began to roll in this title, and I'm still not sure exactly that was properly answered. Regardless of how you end up feeling about the game's mixed message, ultimately you're going to have to put up with some pretty mediocre platforming and some below average combat in order to even see it through. But that said, the puzzles are rewarding, clever, and fun more often than not, and they do help to overlook some of the game's bigger flaws in certain ways. If you take to the story and the concepts presented in this game more than I did, can deal with some of the more frustrating platforming elements and the mediocre combat, then you will find a beautifully artistic looking game with some wonderful piano ballads trapped in a game that forgets the basics. For more on Neversong and all of our other content, head on over to MediaMoogle.net where we have some great podcasts for you to check out, like I Dream of Indie, our indie game show. And if you have enjoyed our video coverage today, please do consider hitting the subscribe button below. If you really like us, you can head on over to patreon.com/MediaMoogle where we have 3 wonderful tiers to choose from, or feel free to leave a donation in the description box below. However you help us bring a voice to the voiceless, thank you for doing so.